Let's talk some sports, baby.
Taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by Jones.
And remember, make tomorrow better than today and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
All right, we finished off tonight in the NFL. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys continue to make headlines in a quiet sports world amid contract extension negotiations. Prescott's coming off his best season statistically, despite the team finishing 8-8 and missing the playoffs. With his rookie contract expired, the Cowboys inked him to a one-year franchise tag worth roughly $31 million, fully guaranteed. The two sides have until July 15th to reach a deal. Otherwise, Dak will be playing on the tag, and they'll pick up the negotiations next year. The Cowboys reportedly offered him a 5-year, $175 million deal, $35 million per, making him the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL. But Dak's side wants fewer years and closer to $40 million per year. So what's going on with all this drink? Is Dak and his crew out to lunch, or should the Cowboys be filling the stadium with $100 bills for him?
Nah, he should be out for lunch. Here's the deal. Dak, come on down, sit down, let's talk about it. Here's what I think. I think Dak is really good. He's a really good game manager. He don't really strike me as I could take you to the next level, but he is good when all the stars align. So offensive line pumping, top 5 running back, Zeke, doing his thing. Amari Cooper, Gallup, they making catches even though he might be overthrowing them. Defense getting those stops. Holler at your boy. Maybe he might be worth $35 million if you get that Dak Prescott for majority of the year. But where he's not good is when he has to overcome adversity. What do you say? Okay, let me give you a couple of examples. Example 1. He doesn't really look that good when Zeke isn't running the ball particularly well in a particular game. Meaning, if the defense holds Zeke, let's say under 100, 9 times out of 10, the Cowboys lose. Look at the stats because Dak is not really throwing you out of that hole because now you can't control the game when you're not running the ball. If the more you pass the ball, the more you allow the other team to get possessions. That's how you lose the game. Cool. Example number 2. How good did he look in the passing game before the Cowboys acquired Amari Cooper? Was he really lighting the world on fire before Cooper got there? I don't think so. I could be wrong. But when I look at the stats, Michael Gallup, he was getting overthrown so much before Cooper got there, he was ready to go back in the draft. That's how bad it was. Not particularly looking like $35 million a year there either. Okay, cool. And then last year, example number 3, last year and just last year, when the Cowboys played good teams with average or better defenses, how did Dak really look in those games? New England, Buffalo. The third team eluded me. I had it. Even Minnesota, Seattle, and Seattle not even considered a good defense anymore. They just Seattle, right? He didn't look particularly like a $35 million quarterback. Yet the Cowboys is like, we will give you 35. We will give you 35 for all these empty stats and getting us to the playoffs. We'll give you 35. We think you deserve that. I think what they should have did was offer him 30, between 30 to 32, and if he said no, cool. No problem, buddy. We're going to franchise you, and we're going to let you play for the franchise tag, and we're going to let you test free agency. Because here's my opinion on it. It is not that big of a gap between Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton. It's not. The only thing most people can give me is, oh, man, Cincinnati ain't never win nothing when Andy Dalton was there. It wasn't Andy Dalton's fault. I mean, he had fault in it, but it wasn't 100% his fault. If you remember correctly, when they made it to the playoffs when Andy Dalton was there, I think he was hurt. I think A.J. McCarron was out there throwing the ball for them. And that was also the Same playoff where Cincinnati decided to start a brawl with the Steelers. And you got coaches out here throwing punches. And you got everybody out there throwing punches. That wasn't Andy Dalton's fault. It's not Andy Dalton's fault that when he do play well, he don't have the talent around him. And then when he do play, the talent around him not 100% healthy. Okay, cool. But if you want to tell me, hey, Dak at this current stage of his career is better than Andy Dalton at this current stage of his career, I get behind that. He is. But you're not going to tell me it's a significant gap between them. No. If you want to look for significant gap, go look at Kansas City. Mahomes and the guy behind him. That's what you call a gap. That's a gap. That is when, as a franchise, you say, what you want, man? 45? 50? All right, we got to think about it. And then you really will have to go think about it. But if I'm the Cowboys, I'm Jerry Jones, man, listen. You don't want the 35, it's fine. And then I guess what I'm hearing today is he wants the last year of the contract to be 45 or more. Man, you know what? Roger Goodell should release a press release that say, for any quarterback that asks for 45 million a year has to meet these requirements. You got to be an MVP. You got to at least play it in a conference finals or something. We can't just have any and every quarterback out here talking about I want 45 when you ain't did nothing, but later on, you ain't did much, all right? But you got the audacity to ask for 40. Do we know how much Russell Wilson make a year? Do anybody know that off the top of their head?
35 mil.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's tops right now.
The only thing I'll say about him wanting that much money is absurd, but the NFL does renegotiate their broadcast deals in 2021 and 22, and they expect the salary cap to go up significantly. So that's just what Dak's side's looking at with that.
Well, I hope his performance go up.
I was saying it's right or wrong. Just saying from the numbers. They're expecting a huge salary cap jump.
If that is his close, hey, y'all gonna get paid more. What that got to do with you not winning? Ain't got nothing to do with you not winning, Dak. Maybe Patrick Mahomes, maybe Lamar Jackson can roll in that joint and say, well, y'all going to make more money. You know what? I'm going to wait to renegotiate next year when we make more money so I can go ahead and add that into the tab. But at the end of the day, no matter how profitable an organization is, you get paid off of your performance. That's anywhere, in any business, in any arena. You get paid off your performance. You don't get a raise if you're doing the average. You get a raise when you're making more currency for yourself. When you're doing more than you're asked to do. Now, can you say Dak is he doing more than what he asked to do because his piss poor fourth round contract? Yeah, but I ain't got nothing to do with that. If you wanted to get paid more, you should have played better in college, and you would have been a first round pick. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Don't hit me with what we done paid you. Now we talking about what you want to get paid now. And for you to come in my office talking about 40 mil, and the last year I want 45, when the best quarterback in the NFL not even getting paid that much. Man, please. So you're going to get this 1 year franchise tag, and then we're going to hit you with the baby powder on the bottom, and you can go and roll out and test free agency next year. And tell me how that market work out for you, because you do benefit greatly from being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. You're not paying taxes. You're one of the most notarized quarterbacks in the NFL without really having the numbers to bag it up. Because if you actually compare the numbers, you're pretty low on the poll, buddy. But hey, listen, your agent get paid to do a job. We ain't trying to run the old Scottie Pippen special. We just saying, for the money that you're asking for, give us the performance to match it, and we will pay you. We have no problem paying guys that perform. Ask Zeke, ask Amari, ask Lawrence. They're getting paid. Ask Jalen Smith. my man had to bounce back from a couple of surgeries, and he's still getting paid. So we will pay you, but give us the necessary performance to justify it. You can't just this is not unemployment. You can't just come in and file this crap and we're just gonna give you the money. That's not what this is. So at the end of the day, this is a business. You need to act like it. Better performance, less whining. Holla at your boy.
You guys realize, well, at least from me and Drink's perspective, we started this show last September. This is one of the things we were talking about then. At the time, we were debating what the Cowboys should do as far as should they pay Dak? Should they pay Amari? Should they pay Zeke? Should they pay Dak and Amari and not pay Zeke? We're running through all these different scenarios about what the Dallas Cowboys should do. Well, Dallas paid Zeke. They paid him before the season. They've since paid Amari. Not only that, they played Jalen Smith. They'd already paid DeMarcus Lawrence, like you said. They paid Lyle Collins. They made all guys priorities, and look who still ain't got a contract. Now, I read something today by ESPN's Todd Archer, he's Cowboys NFL Nation reporter, and he was going through all these, dispelling the myths about, what the deal is and all these different theories about why he's not paid. And a lot of it made sense. I can get with it, but one of the arguments was he tried to dispel the myth that the Cowboys don't believe in Dak. Well, yeah, Todd Archer thinks they do believe in Dak. Well, I would say this: if they believed in him so much, why don't we have a contract? Why don't we have a contract? I think it's inexcusable that it's been this long and it's been a story this long that we still don't have anything done. At some point, you got to figure it out. You got to get it together. And oh, by the way, there's a couple things. Two things I'm looking at. You talk about performance. It's all performance based. Break that down even further. There's past performance. There's what you've done, and there's your future performance. What you're gonna do. Think about this. Ask yourself these questions. Has Dak's past performance warranted a contract that makes him the highest paid quarterback in football? No, it hasn't. Is there any belief, do we have the belief right here that he's going to do anything in the future that's going to warrant that type of money? I think the answer to that question is no as well. So in the end, what are we talking about? Well, I guess you're going to hit me with the old market value. Well, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm going to tell you this. I told you about Tennessee paying Ryan Tannehill $30 million a year. That's a bad contract. So just because the Titans do bad business, the Cowboys should do bad business too? I don't think so. And you bring up Andy Dalton. Yeah, Andy Dalton's going to be making $3 million a year this year. And Dak, just on the franchise tag, I think 31 million is probably just a hair too high. I think he's right at about 30 million. That's where I put him. So you're already getting a better deal than what you deserve on the franchise tag. And listen to this. We talk about supporting cast. Ever since Dak came in the league as a rookie 4th round pick, he's had a lot of help. He's had predominantly the best offensive line in the game. He's had a top 3 running back at minimum, and by production, you could make a great argument. He's had the best running back. The Cowboys gave him Amari Cooper. He needed a wide receiver. They built a pretty good defense. They tailed off a little bit last year, but he's had defensive help. Up until last season, now you can hit me with this. You can hit me with this one, but he did have stability. It might have not been the best stability, but they had coaching stability. So, and by the way, we can't overlook this. We know the NFC East just is terrible. The Redskins and Giants, we can't even figure out what they're doing from week to week. We just don't know. So you have 2 just terrible teams in your division. And oh, by the way, Dak's 13-3 against those 2 teams in the division for 4 years, just eating up wins, stealing them. But what happened last season? The Cowboys somehow, I don't know, against conventional wisdom, they said, you know what? We know we just paid Zeke, that mega running back contract. So what should we do? We should transition to a passing style offense. That sound good to you? Okay, all right, yeah, we'll do that. They go passing offense, and what do? Yeah, Dak puts up numbers. He leads the league in passing yards and, sets career highs in touchdowns. But you know what happened? The wins went down, and that's what it's all about. You got to win games. So if I'm the Cowboys, and I think I've been pretty consistent with this, they franchise him. That's what I thought they would do, and I would play him on the franchise tag. You gotta play this season out, and you gotta combine numbers and wins. And I would prioritize wins. If I'm Mike McCarthy, new coaching staff, get back to the ground game, get back to Zeke Elliott, run the offensive line, and let that set everything else up. I think that's what they should do, and that's where I'm at with this.
And to caveat that, talking about Tennessee, right? The bad deal they made. The reason that they're in that bad deal, which I don't know why Dak don't think about this, is they ran the running back and the quarterback did the bare minimum and he got paid all this money. Why not do the same thing? You're going to get paid a boatload of money to do half of the work. Why not do that?
Yeah, this whole issue, guys, is really what it comes down to is there's a level of business overplay in the NFL. We see it every year. Sometimes dudes are just going to be in the right position and get paid whether they deserve it or not. The biggest thing to note here is that Dak does have a lot of leverage in the situation. One, he plays the most important position on the football field, and he has played, statistically, he's played as a top 10 quarterback for most of his tenure, right? His last 4 years. Statistically, he's been up there as far as production. Now, as far as wins and losses, you can come or go, but he's been among those top 10 guys. So right now the Cowboys are kind of over a barrel because they don't get this done by July 15th. They're going to have to wait until next year. July 15th, this is cut off. He has to put on the franchise tag, and they cannot pick up negotiations until next year. So Dak and his agent know the landscape of the NFL is going to change, right? The new CBA, the new broadcast deals, like I told you about. The new CBA just went into effect. The broadcast deals, international money is pouring into this league and will as soon as they can get back over there. And then, by the way, guys like Mahomes and Jackson are about to completely demolish the market for quarterbacks. That's coming. We know that storm's coming. So it would be silly of Dak and his agent to accept anything less than a gigantic payday. Now, I'm not saying he deserves it. It's just the way it is. Like, Dak has $31 million guaranteed check in his desk. He doesn't know anything about it. He just shows up to work and he gets it. If they don't get it done by July 15th, guess what the Cowboys have to do next year? They got to franchise tag him again. That's a repeat. That's $66 million over 2 years in your bank account. Thanks for playing. Before you've even actually done any contract extensions. And then every year this drags on, you're closer to those markets being reset and the new salary cap and the new deals, man. It's the Cowboys are actually under, I think, a good bit of pressure to get this done before it gets too late. But, the biggest knock on Dak is you could say that he's not good against teams above 500. Y'all have alluded to this already. When he's playing scrubs, he's great. But he's beyond elite at times. But then against above 500 teams, he's thrown 25 picks, 25 touchdowns, and he's 6-17 in those games. Last year, he threw 8 touchdowns and 8 picks, and he was 1-6 in those games. Mahomes, Jackson, Watson, Rodgers, Wilson, Cousins, and Brady all did better than him in that regard against above 500 teams. The only one that was below was Jared Goff. So if you want to make more than those dudes, you're probably going to have to start adding a little extra, right? It's not fair to 100% blame Dak for those losses. I understand that. But when you want to be paid like that, you're the guy. When you want to make a second world country's GDP every year, you're going to give me a little more. You're going to be the guy that takes the blame for those losses. I don't want to hear about coaching. I don't want to hear about Zeke. I don't want to hear about anything else. So, unfortunately for the Cowboys, though, guys, I feel like they're stuck under a barrel with this. I don't think you can let your franchise guy walk. If you're going to sell me on, Andy Dalton can come do it for cheap, is that one, that ain't going to go over well. And number two, Andy Dalton ain't going to win you anything. I mean, maybe Dak isn't either. Well, we don't know. But I think we can all agree Dak gives you a better chance to win than Andy Dalton does. He's your franchise guy. There's very limited good quarterbacks in the league. And it's hard to see the Cowboys backing out of this deal. I think they're going to have to pay him. It's just the question of when and how much it's going to be. And right now, I feel like Dak and his agent, they have the cards right now, in my opinion.
So let me tell you this. So if that contract offer that Dallas gave today, 5 years, $35 million, if that contract offer is true and he didn't take it, he's a fool. You just said it yourself. The Cowboy, Dak Prescott and his agent, they shouldn't settle for anything else other than a mega contract. That's not a mega contract to you?
No, it is. I mean, it gives you the highest pay, but they're looking at 40. They're looking at 45. I'm telling you, when these salary caps explode and then Mahomes and Jackson sign those contracts, he's going to want to be part of that. We see NBA players do that. They take 2 or 3 year deals with options out to get back into free agency.
Then,
so I think that's what his agent's looking at.
Well, win then.
That's
I'm just
Play
playing
this,
the. I'm
play
playing the
this
agent.
year and win.
I'm playing the agent business side. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't pay this guy so much money either. Don't let me get confused here. But I'm just saying, from a business and from an outside looking in perspective, this is going to be a hard sell for the Cowboys to walk away from.
There's the Cowboys business too. That's bad for them.
Hold on, yeah. So hold on, agent, Mr. Hoffershoff. So listen.
Is that my name? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is.
So listen, your client. So your client is asking to make $40 a year. You just rolled out a package of this is what he do with teams above 500. This is what he do with teams below 500. In that package somewhere, can you tell me how many teams that was below 500 made the playoffs? Because I need to know the record of teams that made the playoffs, because those are the teams that he's going to have to go against when all the chips are on the table. Yeah, and he's asking for this $40 million. So he's going to go against the likes of, Russell Wilson that make his money, Aaron Rodgers that makes his money, and so on and so forth. I don't think he's going to see a lot of Daniel Jones and a lot of the kid in Washington in the playoffs. So if you're telling me that he should get paid that much because they're over the barrel, that's one thing. And my second point is
that's what I'm saying.
yeah. But my second point is, why do you think the Cowboys fans going to be so upset if Andy Dalton is the starter if they could save $30-40 million?
It's been too long, man.
Get the same result.
He has 10 full seasons now. I mean,
how long has Dak been with this team? If we talk about how long, it's been so long since they tasted
He was their
success.
guy. I mean, to me, it's different because you're not going to sell the Cowboys, the people that root for the Cowboys. You're not going to sell them on Andy Dalton taking you to the Super Bowl. You can sell them on Dak.
You can't sell them on Dak. He's been there 4 years. If this was any other team, really? Because they ain't paid him yet. If this was any other team and their quarterback came out the same output that Dak has done to this point, we would be like, hey, it's time for them to go. We ready to hang up Tannehill, and he was just in the AFC Championship game.
Sure.
You telling me right now that this dude that ain't made it to an NFC Championship game in 4 years behind that line with that running back and these wide receivers, and you telling me right now the fans are just so up in, you better not get rid of Dak. Oh no!
So
what has he done?
Yeah, think about this too. Not only is the winning percentage against winning teams pretty bad. Think about this. We talked about his supporting cast. He's had predominantly very good to great supporting cast throughout his young career. Think about when any of those components gets removed. Zeke gets suspended. It doesn't look so hot. Tyron Smith's out with an injury. He getting sacked left and right. But before Amari Cooper got there, kind of suspect as a passer. You add all these things up. If the situations aren't perfect, I mean, and that's what it's all about in the end. You pay these guys these mega amounts of money. You pay Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, et cetera, and Carson Wentz too. Carson Wentz is a great example. Think about last year, Week 16, when Dak Prescott and the Cowboys rolled up into Philadelphia, predominantly healthy. And we know about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz showed up with some dude named Greg Ward, who was like a position change wide receiver.
Yeah, he was a quarterback in college.
Yeah, and the Eagles beat him. That's why you pay Carson Wentz. He can get it done for you when other things ain't right. We ain't seen it from Dak. I don't expect we are going to see it with Dak. I can't imagine. The Cowboys offered that contract. I don't see any reason why they would up it.
Yeah,
they might not, but I guess the last thing is, well, where do they go from there? I mean, really, you're going to start Andy Dalton. You're going to say, okay, Dak, have fun, man. Have a good life. You're going to sign Andy Dalton to a big contract and then go draft another guy.
No, he's not going to get a big contract. But look, again, Andy Dalton's making $3 million this year. Dak Prescott is making $31 million this year on 1 year. Are you really going to sit there with a straight face and tell me Dak Prescott gives the Cowboys a 10 times better chance of winning?
No, he doesn't. But I'm telling you, Jerry wants to see a Super Bowl before he goes to the afterlife, and their window's closing fast.
It's no guarantee with Dak. We're talking like Dak.
There's not, but there's more than with Andy Dalton. That's my point.
That's not 10 times much, not even twice as much.